Welcome. It's 2 p.m. This is Burning Tree Programs Spotlight. I'm Eric Button. I'm a proud alumni of Burning Tree, and I do family support work for us and business development. Burning Tree Ranch outside of Dallas in Kaufman, Texas was created in 1999 with one man's vision, David Elliott. Burning Tree Ranch is a long-term drug and alcohol treatment center for men and women. Average length of stay is 8 to 14 months with a year of transition, specializing in the chronic relapser, the treatment-resistant client. In 2004, David Elliott created Burning Tree Lodge outside of Austin in Elgin, Texas. Burning Tree Lodge was rebranded a couple of years ago with the bringing on Peter Pirano as Chief Operating Officer. It's now known as Renewal Lodge by Burning Tree. Renewal Lodge is an in-network provider for all major insurance companies here in the United States. Its approach is a mindfulness approach to the 12 steps, clinically advanced. Earlier this year, David Elliott teamed up with Jessica and Josh Slay to reopen Awakenings Hill Country. Awakenings Hill Country is a women's only drug and alcohol treatment center in Fredericksburg, with a trauma influence and a trauma track. It's also an in-network provider. And in Tucson, Arizona, we have Burning Tree West. Burning Tree West is a young adult program with a collegiate track, and it also has some sober living beds available for men and women. So I want to bring on a lady that is very dear to my heart, and I have always been impressed with her presence in this field of helping people find freedom. And Brandy Klingman, she is a licensed clinical social worker, and she is very instrumental with helping people in Louisiana. She's a co-partner of St. Christopher's Addiction Wellness Center, and she is a founder and CEO of Magnolia, which is an all-women's intensive outpatient practice there in Baton Rouge. So, Brandy, welcome to Burning Tree Spotlight. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well also. How have you? First and foremost, let me ask you, how have you adapted to on a personal note, how have you adapted to homeschooling your two girls?
I don't mind it, honestly. Like I've it took a while to kind of set in the idea of being home and doing stuff with the girls more so than traveling, but I actually like it.
Yeah. So is it summer break there yet?
It is in our house. We're done.
Okay, good. So tell me, how did you know that you wanted to be a social worker?
Well, I feel like for me, I really didn't know that for sure when I was young. I always joke about this when I travel and talk. I always say, like, this story is I always wanted to be a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, because I thought it would be a way to help people and to help families who were struggling and stuff like that. Hey, Gary. And then the other thing was I saw like halfway through school, I was like, well, I don't really like the law part where you're having to like study a lot and do all these like mean things, some things that were kind of manipulative that I didn't really like. And but I really wanted to help families and individuals who were struggling. And so I went into psychology and then into counseling.
Yeah. And you're a graduate of Louisiana State University.
Yeah, right? LSU. Yeah. Or LSU for all the years of school.
Yeah. and you're a Louisiana native.
Louisiana native, born in New Orleans.
Born in New Orleans and made it quickly over to Baton Rouge.
Made it over here. Haven't left.
Which isn't too far of a drive.
No, it was about an hour.
So I know that St. Christopher's, I've known of St. Christopher's for a long time. Even when I started in recovery, St. Christopher's started out as a sober living environment in Baton Rouge. And a gentleman that I went through Burning Tree with told me stories of his stay at St. Christopher's in Baton Rouge. And Dwayne Beeson took it from a sober living environment to what it is today. How did you and Dwayne come about meeting each other?
So I'd always known Dwayne since I'd been in the field because I was working at treatment facilities and he was as well when he was St. Christopher's. And then I would travel a lot for work and I'd hear people all over the country tell me, well, do you know Dwayne? Do you know Dwayne? Do you ever spend time with Dwayne? And it was just amazing. People all over the country would ask me about Dwayne, and people in the state, of course, would ask me about Dwayne. And the more time that I spent with Dwayne, the more I felt his passion and his love for this industry and his love for his guys. And it just was kind of contagious. So eventually when our paths came together, where we got to work together, it was truly contagious. Like now I always talk about my guys the same way that he did. And it's like, oh, my guys do this. Oh, my guys did that. Let me tell you a funny story about my guys.
Yeah. I know that so you came on, when did you start working with St. Christopher's?
I think it's been like a little over 6 years maybe.
Yeah. And in that 6 years, you brought a higher level of clinical sophistication to St. Christopher's.
I like to say like having a female on board brings sophistication in of itself.
That is very true. I see that take place at Burning Tree also. Yes.
That's right. But I do like a very clinical dual diagnosis approach to treatment. I really treasure the hardcore 12-step, the brotherhood that we have and all that, but I really wanted the extra clinical level. So from everything from the medical components of detox or toxicology all the way through. So differential diagnosing, psychology, all the comprehensive teams, that's what I wanted.
So you guys provide everything from detox, primary treatment, to extended care. Tell us the process that you incorporate when you're working with your families.
So if a family's calling and saying they want to send their loved one in, we really start from the very beginning. It's just what level of care is he going to need? And our detox abilities are now we can do detox for everything. And we're able to do stabilization in the very beginning because if you know, like I have seen so many of these guys who've been using on the streets or even marijuana, and now they have the psychosis aspect or the mental health aspect attached to their diagnosis. So we can bring them in and do a full differential workup in the very beginning. So we have that full intensity in the beginning, and then from there it steps down. So we can talk to the family about their primary concern and the patient's concern of whether or not it's more hardcore substance use or if it's more blended mental health and substance use, and we have tracks for those. So we're able to kind of put them where they need to go in the program that would best fit them. Yeah.
And then I know across from your extended care program, you guys have a wellness center.
Yeah, I love.
So what goes on at the wellness center?
So Travis Weisborough is our manager for our wellness program, and he does everything from teaching the guys how to cook for themselves in healthy ways, how to adapt a healthy diet. And then in our wellness buildings, I think it comes to like 7,000 square feet of gym, basically, and workout areas. And it's gorgeous. It's the prettiest thing about St. Chris because, you know, all men living together is never pretty. It's always something.
Yeah.
The wellness center is the nicest place. And so they go in, they work out. A lot of guys get very much into physical fitness when they're recovering. And that kind of becomes their new thing, you know, so they get connected to Travis. We get updates about how they're doing in the gym, which really correlates with how they're doing in therapy too. So they're two different thing, they really relate to each other.
And I know I've toured St. Christopher's a couple I'm very fond of your program and what you guys stand for. I know that you also have cooking classes at the wellness center.
Yeah, Travis is doing the cooking classes with the guys.
Okay.
Yeah, so in that kitchen in our wellness center, it's a huge area for the guys to learn how to cook healthy foods and to live a healthy lifestyle. So, you know, it's really neat to see the guys who couldn't make macaroni and cheese before, and their moms were like, they don't know how to load a washer or a dryer. And then when they've gone through the program, not only do they learn all those life skills, but they're cooking healthy, they're working out, they get on to their parents about not being able to work out enough.
So you have a lady working for you named Madison.
Mm-hmm.
Madison Nyquist. I'm very fond of her.
Yeah.
She brings a high level of energy,
She
which
does.
matches your energy.
Oh, I feel like I just like to try to like stand next to her so that I match hers because she's so energetic.
Well,
she's so personable.
How did you know? What was the sign that when you had an opportunity to buy St. Christopher's with your partner?
Mm-hmm. I think it was always a discussion. I was always thinking about, wanting to be the owner and wanting to move it forward into this next level. And Dwayne, is such a wonderful person about where he is really insightful about where he is in life and what's the next step for him. And he knew that at some point it would be time for him to step aside. So it was just a natural kind of thing. It really wasn't some secret plan or conversation that happened because of any kind of bad thing. It's just a natural graduation for both of us.
Now, your partner is also an alumni.
Zach, yeah, he's an alumni. He's got 9 years or 10 years sobriety this year. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're a family-owned organization.
Family-owned.
I really enjoyed meeting this year when we got to interact with each other in Colorado Springs. Your director of nursing, Emily.
Yeah, she's a hoot. That girl is wild. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. What does Emily bring to the family at St. Christopher's?
So I think what Emily's strongest point is, one, she's a great manager and administrator. She just naturally has some leadership skills. And then two, unfortunately, this gigantic crisis happened with COVID, and her natural inclination is medicine, of course, and wellness. And so before we even got shut down as a state, we already had plans and policies. We were the first in the area to be able to do COVID testing for all of our patients. And we did it constantly. She's kept us safe in this time. And she also has that mothering mentality. She's kind of a boy mom sometimes. Like, she's able to hug and love on the guys, but also to say, you didn't wash your hands in the last 15 minutes. Go take care of that.
Yeah. Well, I know that the people of Louisiana, the Pelican State, are very resilient. Yeah. I know that there was a flood in the Baton Rouge area a few years ago, and I know that St. Christopher's as an organization, St. Christopher's Addiction Wellness Center, was very instrumental in helping other programs there in Louisiana. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, we had a major flood in 2016 where 90% of our town was flooded. And so Dwayne and I just so happened to live close by each other, and we both managed to be on a little island in our area that didn't flood. And we knew we were going to be helping people. He was out helping people. I was out helping people. And we just knew that we had to help the treatment centers that were in the area because they weren't going to be able to stay functioning if they didn't have a place to stay. And we were so blessed at our place that we didn't flood. So we took in some people who flooded, let them use apartments of ours and stay there. We did tons of donations. We went to all of our staff's houses. I eventually got a favorite crowbar from all this because we gutted so many houses that I ended up adopting a favorite crowbar for the project.
Wow.
I got my first pair of shrimp boots during that time.
So Brandy, thank you for sharing that story about your shrimp boots.
I
want to ask you about your other passion, which is helping women with Magnolia. How did that come about?
I've always believed in women's health and wellness, and that it's really important because I kind of feel like we are part of the glue that holds our society together as women. And oftentimes we neglect our own health to take care of the ones that are around us that we love. And so I was fortunate enough to be with St. Christopher's, and we just saw an opportunity to start an IOP for women only for mental health and addiction. So a dual diagnosis, women-specific IOP in our town, which isn't something that really existed here. And we were so fortunate that the community just accepted us and was really excited about it and has been supportive of us. And the other part is we're able to take insurance for it. So that's been a huge help for these women because they don't want to spend huge amounts of cash on themselves. They're very reluctant to put effort towards themselves because they're so busy caring for others. So the fact that we were able to do all that, it was awesome. It was really, really awesome.
Well, congratulations for being able to follow through with a need and a desire. So I know that over the past several years, you have helped countless other professionals in our field of helping people find recovery and find freedom. You've been helping the professionals, the other counselors, the other therapists. Tell me about, so I get to sometimes when I'm at Burning Tree, I get to sit in on Master Treatment Plan Day. And one of the areas that the clinicians talk about is they ask each other, do we have any countertransference going on with a client? Can you tell us what countertransference is?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I would love to. I talk about this all over. It's my favorite thing. It's really our feelings as humans towards the patient or the person in the room, the client. So it's really about what are our feelings, thoughts, reactions to the other person in the room. And the trick is that we have to first know that we have them, because there's a lot of therapists, they say, oh, we don't have them. I have no feelings. I'm a blank canvas. I have a yellow notepad and a degree on the wall. So I'm good. I'm not judging. But the truth is we do. We have feelings, thoughts, judgments, reactions to things that patients say. Sometimes we love our patients and sometimes we don't. There's been patients that I really did not like. So it's like just trying to figure out how we're going to work through that and how we're going to let that impact us or our relationship with the patient. So that's what countertransference is. And the goal is then once we recognize that we have it, how to minimize the impact in a negative way and to use it in a therapeutic, clinical way in your relationship with the patient.
Yeah. Well, I know, hearing how you described it and looking at my own personal recovery, I'm not a clinician, but I know that the process that I get to witness when the clinicians are asked these questions and then they are welcome to, or it's a way of putting it, they are open to being honest about what's going on, which then in turn, that honesty builds on the process. And it's like, well, then this one clinician's talking about their countertransfer, and then it opens the door for the next person, and how they all collaborate on helping each other. It transmits to us as the clients in treatment. So it's definitely a huge part of health for the organization. And I know that the health of an organization is what attracts particular clients to come to our organizations for help.
Yeah, you're totally right. That's exactly it. If the therapist feels safe to talk about their countertransference and to be completely authentic and vulnerable, then the client feels safe to be authentic and vulnerable. And we can all be more honest with how we feel, which is great. It's nothing worse than when you can tell someone has a certain feeling about you, but they won't acknowledge it.
Does your organization do your clinicians, does it sometimes that you figure out that a particular client will work better with another clinician?
Oh yeah, all the time. And I think it's important, one, in that situation, I think it's good to acknowledge it and make the switch sometimes, but sometimes it's important for the therapist and the patient to both acknowledge what's going on, and we'll have a conversation with everybody in the room. Like, what is it about this therapist that pushes your buttons, or what is it about this patient that's been not working? Yeah.
Well, how's your week going?
It's going good. It's only Tuesday, and I feel like I've accomplished some things, which is my driving force. I like to do things every day. So
and everything's good. God continues to put men at St. Christopher's that need help, and
God
women at Magnolia.
So good to us. Like, we are so blessed, and we have such stability through this. My heart goes out to all the treatment centers who are struggling, and I want to be supportive in any way we can. I've been doing a lot of Zoom calls and chats to support our friends in the field,
Well, I've always admired you. I've admired your organization, and I'm thankful for you and your organization, what you do in this field, and especially given the fact that you help so many clinicians that aren't even at St. Christopher's in Magnolia. So I can't thank you enough, Brandy, for coming on Burning Tree Program Spotlight.
Thank you so much for having me, Eric. I really appreciate all that you're doing. I love it. It's a bright spot in my day to see you on talking. And
I appreciate it. Bye. Tell everybody hi for me. Well, Brandy Klingman, licensed clinical social worker, St. Christopher's Addiction Wellness Center, and Magnolia in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I forgot to say she was going to do the Go Tigers, but anyways, my mind forgot. Burning Tree Programs is a family-owned organization. We've been around since 1999. David Elliott created us in our initial program as Burning Tree Ranch outside of Dallas and Kaufman, Texas. Works with the chronic relapsing man or woman, 8 to 14 months residential length of stay with a year of transitions. In 2004, David created Burning Tree Lodge, which is now known as Renewal Lodge by Burning Tree. It is an in-network provider for all major insurance companies here in the United States. It's a 30, 60-day clinically advanced mindfulness approach to the 12 steps. Earlier this year, David connected with and reopened Awakenings Hill Country with Jessica and Josh Slay. It is a women's helping women organization with a trauma track, substance use disorder. It's also accepts all major insurances. And David Elliott received his path or started his path of freedom in Tucson, Arizona. So he created Burning Tree West, which is a young adult program in Tucson, about 1.5 miles east of the University of Arizona. It has a collegiate track. Josh New is our executive director out there, and I'm very honored to bring you Burning Tree Programs Spotlight. Thank you, Brandy.